and you've heard me talk about this on the podcast before, but you really have to simplify the job of each employee. One person doing 10 tasks means they can't do anything well or anything efficiently. I have 45 employees at my company. Most of them, I'd say 25 of them, I have never met in person. Most of the employees have never met one another in person. We don't have an office, and we live in 3 countries, the Philippines, Colombia, and the United States. So all over the world, we represent probably 10 states in the United States. And it's been this way for ever since I can remember. I'm going to talk to you in this episode about how we do it, how we organize our business. First of all, technology 10 years ago was not where it is today. The software as a service that you can get inside of companies is incredible. In the self-storage business, I can look at my KPIs from anywhere. I have all 20 of our deals, our investment deals. And as you know, I sold my moving and storage company in January of 2021, so a little bit over a year ago. And now we do full-time real estate. We have 45 employees. 30 of them are in the management of the real estate, so answering the phones, collecting rent, and managing the vendors on site that keep the place clean and the units ready to rent. 10 more are in the acquisitions and finance departments. We are figuring out what we're going to buy. We're trying to find things to buy. We're underwriting them. We're making offers on them, and we're closing those deals. And then there's 5 of us on the management team that make the decisions and manage the people. So technology really allows me to keep an eye on everything. I can log in, and I do this every night before I go to bed. I can look at every deal, every self-storage facility. I can see how many customers moved in, how many customers moved out, what our revenue is so far in the month, what rents we are renting units at, what our ad spend is. We can look at everything. I can see all the important figures: revenue, profitability, rental rates, move-ins, move-outs. I can see all of it. This cost me $150 per month per property. Out of the box, we made a $0 upfront investment. Some other company handles it for me. Slack is how we all communicate. It's a very organized chat room with channels to ping each other. That's not email or calls. Obviously, we do phone calls, we do Zoom, we do Google Meet, and we do email. But Slack is how we communicate mostly. Ring Central is how we do all of our customer service. All of our customer service reps have a Ring Central phone number, and we can track all their data. We can see how many calls they're answering. We can see exactly what they're doing. We use Notion. That allows us to organize all of our data and build processes inside the company. And Google Drive is where we store all of our underwriting, our key documents, our closing files. That allows our company to basically be 100% paperless. The big tool that really goes a long way with managing employees remotely is Loom, Loom, loom.com. It allows you to record your screen, and it records your face in the bottom left and talk through something. So instead of hopping on a Google Meet and doing a screen share and showing somebody something for 10 minutes that they're going to forget and do their best to remember, I can record a 3, 4, 5, 10-minute video, and I can archive it and share it with whoever I want, and they can go back and read it, they can reference it, they can study it, they can rewind, and they can have it on hand for later. I do my investor updates on Loom, a ton of stuff. I highly recommend you use it inside your company as well. Now, before I go into talk about some of the mindsets and strategies and how we actually manage all these people remotely, the number one thing that has really changed my life over the past 3 years has been our access to remote labor in the Philippines. We have 18 employees in the Philippines. I have one personal employee there who does all this stuff for the podcast, and 17 employees over inside of the company that make $5 an hour. It's $1,000 a month. They work very hard. Their English is phenomenal. And they do a lot of surprisingly high-skilled tasks inside of our company. When we first made the hire, we were apprehensive. The way Shepherd works, it's supportshepherd.com. They've sourced all 18 of these employees for us. So they go on the job boards over there. They wade through all the candidates. They interview them. They do the English tests. They do the matching. They write the job description, and they bring us 3 candidates. And we can interview them and pick one that we think is best fit for the role. Well, they brought us 3 candidates the very first time, and we were just blown away by all 3. Extremely good at English. Like I said, it just seemed very competent and very eager to add value to work. We hired them all, and fast forward a year, now we have 18. And these folks handle all of our customer service. We're a 24/7 call center on self-storage. We would not be able to do that if we didn't have access to such affordable, workers. They rent units, they take payments. They even know how to guide folks around our properties. I mean, I made a Loom video showing the Google Maps overhead of every property where the buildings are, the site maps. And these reps who, we kind of have tiered reps, right? The number 1 tier, they're the highest trained, best English. They do new sales calls. Then we have the middle tier that does, collecting payments and, they'll answer incoming calls for customers that want to collect payments. They'll do data entry, and they'll do outbound customer service on email. The more skilled ones answer the phones for sales. Like that's a more important job, right? And they know their way around the buildings. So the high skilled tasks have really been surprising. Inside of our acquisitions department and our cold calling department, we have data analysts. They'll get all the data ready for us to call self-storage facilities. They will, when we get a call, when we get a lead of a self-storage that we want to underwrite and make an offer on, they will build out the competitor analysis, get the cash flow and underwriting document ready to go so that it's very low touch by the time one of our, upper level decision makers looks at it and decides what we want to offer on the property. We have 2 folks in the Philippines who've actually risen up and entered the management ranks inside of customer service. And they manage other employees. They set the schedule. And just really, really phenomenal. So if you can take one thing away from this, I think it's that supportshepherd.com, supportshepherd.com. They're the agency that we use to find these folks to work for our company. If you ping them, they can let you know how it might work for you, but it's been a game changer for me. Now, when we move on to talk about effective delegation, and you've heard me talk about this on the podcast before, but you really have to simplify the job of each employee. One person doing 10 tasks means they can't do anything well or anything efficiently. They get distracted often, and they generally become mediocre at everything. If they're answering phones, renting units, trying to collect payments, doing competition analysis, sending texts to customers, answering emails, they're a jack of all trades. They can't get really good at anything. We have 1 employee focused on email customer service. Actually, 2 of our employees only focus on email customer service. 1 on website chat, 3 on collections only, 5 on inbound calls, which 2 collect payments and 3 do new sales for customers only. So it's really, really specialized. And once you have these people specialize, they can focus on doing those things. Another example of this is we used to have 1 employee cold call the facility, build the competitor analysis, do the underwriting, collect all the documentation to make an offer on a property. They ended up wasting a lot of time when they needed to be on the phones calling self-storage owners because that's what they were good at. So now that person has new lines teed up all day to call storage owners, and somebody else helps them build the packet and get the underwriting done so that they're not spending their time in spreadsheets doing low value work. There's a lot of bad advice out there when it comes to what employees want. And some people think, and they always say, that employees want autonomy and they want to find their own way. They want to make their own decisions. They want to have a say in how their job is done. And to some degree, yes, you don't want to treat people like robots. But as an entrepreneur, we should really try to treat people like robots because the environment that we work in is chaos. Most businesses are chaotic. There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of decisions. You're always solving hard problems. And us as entrepreneurs, we love that chaos. We thrive. We're good at making decisions. You may have employees come up and ask you questions and you always know the answer. And they're like, how do you always know the answer? Well, you've had a lot of training making these decisions and you love the chaos and you're good at it. Employees hate chaos. Employees hate always having to flex that muscle of making decisions where they're not really sure what the answer is. So all that advice around autonomy is, in my opinion, bullcrap. Employees want structure and they want clear, repeatable systems that lead them to being able to do a good job. They want to serve customers. They want to do a good job. They want to add value. They want to be told what to do. Now, I'm going to say that again. You hear all the time, employees want autonomy. Employees want to make their own decisions. Employees want to build their own schedules. Employees want to have all these things about flexibility. That's very, very, very wrong. Employees want structure. Employees want to be told what to do, and they want a clear, repeatable path. If you as an entrepreneur are not providing that to your people, you cannot do your job. And the employees can't do their job. And your company is going to be chaos all the time. You're going to be running around, putting out fires all the time. Along those same lines, an employee comes to you with a question. And this is a scenario that happens all the time. An employee comes to you with a question or a problem. You have two ways you can go about it. Number one, this is the way that most entrepreneurs go about it. Get out of my way. I'll solve this problem. Get out of my way. That's the easy way. Number two, you're going to guide the employee through making this decision themselves. And you're going to come back to them with questions. How would you solve this problem? What are the company goals? How would you think about this? And if you do number two and you let these employees think for themselves, two things happen. First of all, it takes more time. It takes longer. But it pays off in the long run because A, the employees stop coming to you with questions, and B, you get to see which employees are the best at making decisions. As you ask these questions and as you get these answers, you get a look inside their brain. You get to think about, okay, how does this employee really think about these things? And that lets you know who's good and who's not good. Leading into my next point, you have to hire fast and fire faster. You hear all the time, hire really slow, take your time hiring. Yes, absolutely. If you're hiring somebody for $150,000 a year, it's a really high-skilled job. Of course, hire very slow. Most of us are not. Most of us need people to accomplish clear tasks. So we hire fast and we fire faster. The second you start asking these questions and employees' answers aren't making sense, or the second you start getting employees that just make very stupid decisions, or the second you get somebody who doesn't, maybe does something malicious, you catch them stealing time, you catch them stealing things, you catch them not working, or you just get the sense that they're not doing a good job. You just don't like the way that they write, the way that they talk, the way that they're answering questions from customers. You can just tell that they're not very good. I'll tell you that you should fire them right now. Folks rarely get better at making decisions. They rarely get better at solving problems. They'll let you down time and time again. So while you think, oh, we're just hoping that Johnny gets a little bit better, I think he'll get better. I think he's got potential. I think he's going to get better. Very, very rarely does that happen. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to feel a lot better when you get those people out of your company. Now we can talk about the labor environment. Yes, it's hard to find good people. No, they're not going to walk into your business looking for a job. Every business owner that I know, all they do is complain about how hard it is to find good people. And I always ask, what are you doing to find good people? And they can't give me a clear answer. Are you spending money marketing to good people? Are you actually out on the ground scrapping, trying to find good people to work for you? The answer is almost always no. I'm going to tell you right now that you have to take extreme ownership over your situation. There's Lowe's, there's a Home Depot, and there's a Walmart. All three of those are in your town, and all three of them have more than 300 full-time employees at each location. You're telling me Lowe's and Home Depot can find 300 employees and you can't find 3? You have to take ownership over the situation and go out and find the talent and make it happen. Now let's talk about culture. One of the big detractors of remote work and building a company fully remotely is about developing a culture. Nick, how do you build a strong culture? I'll tell you that it's not about the pizza parties and the cocktail hours and the meetings at the water cooler. Of course, good things come of that. But the real way that you build a strong culture is treat people well, treat them with respect. You're consistent, you're logical, you're not going to lash out at them. You as a business owner, you're not just going to overwhelm them with a bunch of dumbass questions. So many bosses and owners, all they do is ask dumbass questions of their staff. Hey, how's sales doing? Hey, how's marketing going? Hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? That is not your job. Now you should, and you can, and you do, and I do ask hard questions. Hey, have we thought about this problem? Hey, have we thought about this risk factor? Hey, what about this issue over here? That is your job. Your job is not to ask dumb, distracting questions all day, like a lot of managers do. On top of that, and this is the most important thing, you got to pay people well, and you have to get rid of poor employees. Poor, crappy employees will add a tremendous stress to your team and will crush your culture. So take that as you see fit. But in my opinion, get your people together. We get our management team together often, a couple times a year, have a great time with party and golf, meetings, ideas, whatever. But you can and you should consider hiring some folks in the Philippines to do some of these tasks for your company. And as you really think about growth and building out, hiring without boundaries really allows you to attract some tremendous talent, which we do, and we do all the time. So thanks for listening.
This episode of Sweaty Startup is brought to you by SupportShepherd.com. SHEPHERD. They are a full-service headhunting agency in the Philippines to help you find talent for your service business at 20% of the cost of U.S. equivalents. I've hired 8 employees through Support Shepherd. I cannot speak highly enough about how it is revolutionizing my business. This company finds you candidates. They background check them. They do personality tests. They make sure they're a good fit based on your job description. They set up the interviews, and they even help you with the employment contract when you're ready to make the hire. I cannot recommend them enough. Check out SupportShepherd.com to learn more.